You know what I hate?
What?
I hate when people try to research me and average marriage me to death.
Okay.
Like, I had somebody comment on one of my posts one time when he was talking about how the research with whatever, I don't even remember what post it was, but the dude was like, research would disagree with you, that married couples who blah, 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 whatever. I don't even remember what all he said, but I think what triggered me was the fact that...
Not triggered.
Yeah, triggered. You don't say stuff like that, but I'm going to say it today. What bothered me is the fact that people will be so quick to say that, the average marriage falls apart or ends up in divorce because they drift apart or because they struggle to talk about finances or communication is a problem and all of this crap or whatever.
Right.
And it always bothers me because I'm like, bruh, believe it or not, there are some above average marriages out there.
Come on.
And I happen to be in one of them.
Ooh.
So, the average problems ain't my own. The average problems that y'all might be dealing with or that you might be experiencing, I don't relate.
Come on.
And my problem is the fact that why in the world do people find it so okay to overly concern themselves with what the average marriage deals with when you should be aiming to be above average in your marriage anyway? Why would you want to settle for average inside of your own marriage when you're literally looking to spend your life with somebody and this is the only life that you got?
Right.
And you should be looking, because I know for a fact people have above average aspirations and the other stuff in their life that they aim to do, be it their jobs, their career, business, health and fit, whatever your thing is. You have some above average expectations and something else in your life.
Right.
But if you're going to have it in anything else, especially if you're married, you should have a ridiculously ambitious thought process when it comes to making sure that you do whatever you can to make sure that your marriage is anything but average. Okay, if the average couple struggles with communication, what can you do to make sure that you go above the standard when it comes to communicating? If it's finance, go above the standard.
Right.
If it's your health and fitness or whatever, go above whatever the average is.
Right.
Like, it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
For somebody that you're about to spend your life with.
Yeah.
Why settle for average?
Yeah.
That is stupid. So when bruh commented that, actually commented and messaged, ridiculous. I don't relate, my bruh. Like, I don't relate. I don't care what the research says because I ain't a part of the study.
Right.
Because what you end up finding out is that anytime somebody tries to average me or research me to death, I already understand that the research is going to be a reflection of the largest amount of people who are the lowest performers in that area. So if you research 100 married couples, I promise you the majority is going to be the lowest performers in that area. I'm not a low performer in my marriage, boss.
Come on.
I can't relate. We can't relate in our marriage. So yes, it makes sense that the average amount of anything in that area is the worst statistic because it's literally the lowest performers. I think my boy Napoleon Hill said that people's problem is the fact that 98% of people don't think. They're not intentional.
Right.
I'm hyper intentional in my marriage.
Right.
Which already puts us in the 2%, which is why I can't relate with the 98%.
Right.
Because we not aiming for average.
Come on.
So don't research me to death, bro. I don't care nothing about that.
They said I wasn't a part of the study. Don't put me in that shit.
I don't relate to them cats. We don't relate to the lowest performers.
Oh, that's so good. That's so true. And like, I would never understand that. Well, the average blah, blah, the average whatever does this. So it's like it gives people a reason to not try. Well, if the average this happens, well, I'm not even going to get married.
Right.
Or I'm not even going to get fit. Or I'm not going to start a business because the average person or the average whatever fails. And it's like, you're really comfortable enough to put yourself in a bucket with failures?
Literally.
Why is that? Why is that?
Why?
I'm like, why is that? Why is that your first thought? Like, well, if the average whatever fails whatever, why are you so okay with saying, well, I guess I'll be a part of that average? You can try harder.
Literally.
You can put some actual effort. You can choose the right person who's willing to work with you. Like, you can actually get fit. Like, there's so many, you can't be above average. And it looks like you really ain't got to try that damn hard. I mean, you really ain't got to try that hard to be above average.
And the thing about it is, everybody, I would assume, most people have at least one area in their life to where they are, or at least aim to be above average. Mm-hmm. At least one. Mm-hmm. Because the same people that'll be sitting over here spitting out that the average marriage or most marriages, that all of that bull crap. If you wouldn't say that to somebody who wanted to start a business. Mm. You wouldn't say that to them. Mm. You would not tell them and sit over there be trying to statistic them to death about how the majority of businesses that are started fail. Mm. Because you admire it.
Or school.
Yeah.
The majority of people don't even use their degrees, and people are still going to school. But nobody's saying, well, don't go to school because you probably won't use your degree.
Yes, like you don't got that same energy towards people, who want to be scholars, or the people who want to be able to control their own lives, and start businesses or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. You don't have that same energy towards people who, they don't want to be obese. Mm. They want to be above average in their health and be able to keep their bodies in order. You know what I mean? Mm. It's like we put so much emphasis on the lowest performers when we quite literally have the ability to decide for ourselves the areas of our lives that we want to be above average in. Yeah. And here go why it's super dope when it comes to marriage. Because if you decide to be ultra hyper intentional in your marriage, you would be surprised how many other areas of your life get better. Mm-hmm. When you decide that you want your marriage to be above average, because I know that for me, doing that put me in a frame where it's like, all right, I got to keep my fitness in check. Even though we've fallen off together multiple times because of life. And you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Let's just keep that all the way real.
Yeah.
But we've always bounced back better than ever every single time. We never allowed us falling off temporarily to become the new standard. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, we fell off the standard. Mm-hmm. Let's get our crap back together.
Right.
We didn't accept that crap.
Right.
Like, we out of pocket.
Right.
We hold ourselves accountable to being out of pocket. Even when we fell off, like financially and money wasn't there. This is a problem. Mm-hmm. This is some average crap. We got to get ourselves back in alignment. So what we do what's necessary to get our stuff back in order. Right. And we're in agreement with that because we're not average, and we not just finna sit over here and comply with whatever the freak of statistic is. Right. Like, why even concern yourself with something when you already know that you have the capability of going so far and beyond whatever the lowest freaking denominator is, the lowest quality of people in that area. Like, I don't care what the bottom 98% of people do.
Right.
Bro, I'm trying to be in the 0.1.
Right.
The 0.1%. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The 0.001% if
You're
possible.
So annoying.
No, but seriously though, it's like, if you're not going to give your full 110% effort at it, why even do it? Mm-hmm. And the thing about, man, y'all know I'm a rock intentional all the time. Okay. But what people fail to realize is that the moment you decide to become intentional about something and you really get invested into that thing, you come to find out that it is really hard to be intentional at a lot of stuff in your life at one time.
Right. Yeah.
You have to choose what you're going to be intentional about. And the dopest thing about marriage, when you do that and you become hyper intentional in your marriage, you come to find out that there's things that you can choose to be intentional about that touch all the other important areas of your life.
Yes.
When you get hyper intentional about how you show up in your marriage, by happenstance, through some magical ways of infinite intelligence, through God, the universe, all those things that exist, some kind of way you become a better communicator. And that ends up helping you in your business and your career and your relationship with your child. And it just shows up everywhere. When you become hyper intentional in your marriage and come to find out that you're taking your finances more seriously and different things like that, especially as a man, you come to find out some kind of way you done got a little bit more confidence, a little bit more pep in your step or whatever. You come to find out that you got more trust in yourself. You come to find out that you can actually depend on yourself and your word, and that ended up rubbing off on how everybody else in the world sees you. And you didn't know that just doing that in your marriage contributed to all of these other things that made your life better.
Right.
You come to find out when you get hyper intentional about these things, when you choose the big ones, it touches so many other parts of your life that make your life better. But when you do that, you realize you can only be intentional about so many things. So pick those big things that are super important, be mindful of how you manage them, and then allow the downpour and the overflow of those particular things to touch all the other meaningful areas of your life.
Yes.
But the thing is, people want to be hyper intentional about these small little things over here that don't touch crap. Or they allow the principles over there in that area to just stay there. They get so focused on the business, so focused on the job, so focused on the kids, but the focus only stays there. Them being present with their kids doesn't rub off to them being present in their marriage. Them being hyper focused on how they show up for their customers and their clients and their business, it stays over there. It never touches their kids. It never touches their marriage. It never touches how they show up and they impact their families. It just stays there. You got the skill.
Yeah.
You got the talent because you're showing it over there.
Right.
You just haven't learned how to be able to apply that somewhere else.
Right.
But then when you realize that how important that is, you have to be able to learn how to be able to also communicate that, articulate that, how to be able to transfer those used skills that you've already developed in the other areas of your life. But you also got to care about those areas too.
Yeah.
Care through your actions. And that requires some above average reflection, some above average effort.
Yeah.
Because we above average over here. So I don't care what the average got going on.
Right.
So don't statistic me to death about some low performers. When that ain't the focus. So a lot of the stuff that we talk about is probably above average lessons that we've learned through our own experiences that sometimes maybe not everybody can be able to relate to, but we've learned it through our own level of hyperintention in that particular area.
Right.
Because we give above average effort in what we do in our marriage. Bruh, man.
I hope they stay out your comments with that. You got you hyped. I love it though.
Ain't it real though, Boot?
It is.
Because I know ain't nothing average about you as a wife.
Oh, I know that for a fact.
Because I wouldn't be able to.
The reason, like, you can pop your shit. The reason you can pop your the way you can is because of me. So.
I can't take no credit from you.
I mean.
I'm like, because I say this all the time, man, but like, I need my wife. I need my wife. And I don't ever want that to be confused nowhere. So much of who I am is because of who my wife has been in my life. It's because of who you've been in my life. You have given me everything that I need to have the desire and the drive and all of that stuff developed in me to want to be able to become more, to do more, to be more intentional, to give a little bit more effort, to show up better for myself and in the world and all of that stuff. Like, you contributed to a lot of that. And I've learned that being with you. And that's how you've contributed to me being able to learn a lot of the lessons that I've learned as a man, as a husband, as a father. I've gotten a lot of that stuff just from us being together.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't have learned these things had you not been there. So I give you all that credit because you created a space for me to be able to learn that stuff and to grow in those ways.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Like, that's what my wife does for me. That's what my spouse, my partner, my best friend, that's what she does for me. That's what you have done for me for years. And that's some above average shit.
It is.
Just call it for what it is. Like, that's what happens when you truly show up for somebody. Like, you've allowed me to be able to discover the better parts of who I am. Shoot.
Through trial and error.
Yeah, through trial and error.
Yeah.
Through effort.
Then that's okay.
Yeah, to the pickups, the fall off, all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
The journey
of
what life is, what marriage is. Why do you think so many people get overly concerned with everybody else's opinion, especially like the average this and what most men want and what most women want and all of this other crap? Why is it that people get so hyper concerned with that crap when they fail to realize, like, it's not about most men. It's about you, bruh.
Yeah.
It's not about most women. It's about you.
I think even in that's a big part of the problem is, like, a lot of people are not self-aware that when they're looking for this information, they're looking for someone to blame. And they're not willing to take accountability for what they lack or what they've done in past relationships, their past failures. Like, okay, well, what did I do to contribute to this? And that's a hard thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier to look for the statistics or say, well, most women do this, so that's why I ain't trying to do this. Or most men do that, and that's why I ain't trying to do this. Because it's easier to blame and not say, well, maybe I need to fix something about myself.
And then to add to that is a lot of people fail to realize, man, that they can spend so much time looking for certain things. Like, I want a person who's this. I want a man who's a boss or a dude who wants a wife who's traditional or whatever your preferences are, right? But they never take the time to step back and say, like, hey, I want a person who displays a certain type of character or who will allow me to be able to develop my character in such a way or hold me accountable or help me to be able to develop XYZ inside of myself. Somebody who's in alignment with where I'm growing or who I ultimately want to become, who can be able to help me get to where I'm trying to grow and I be able to help them get to where they're trying to grow to where we can be shared assets in each other's lives. Because people can tend to prioritize the wrong crap. And that allows you to end up making bad decisions.
Yeah.
And it can put you in a position to where you're so overly focused on your own needs to where you don't even learn how to care for the needs of the person that you're with.
Right.
And the reason you're not getting the best of them is because you're so focused on them only giving you what you want. Rather than you also giving them what they need so that way they can be better equipped to give you what you need. It's a mutual exchange going back and forth.
Right.
And then what happens is when you do that long enough, this miraculous thing happens to where somehow you just only care about making sure that you're the best possible spouse for the one that you're with. And then some miraculous way, they get to this point to where they just want to be the best possible spouse for you. In some miraculous way, in doing that, y'all become so good to each other and making sure that each other's needs and desires and wants and all of this stuff is met to where you both end up some kind of way becoming so much better individually together.
Yeah.
It's like magic. You can't even explain it. It's like you become so selfless, but also in realizing that in your selflessness for your spouse, that requires a lot of self-work and selfishness. You learning how to take care of yourself for the other person, for yourself, because you taking care of you also benefits them.
Yes.
And people will forget that. Sometimes to take care of your spouse, it means you taking care of you.
Yes.
It's just keeping them as a priority in your mind as well. That this growth isn't just for me. It's for me to benefit them also.
Yes.
And people forget that because it's just about what can I get from you? What are you gonna give me? What money you got? What's your status like? Is you gonna take care of the house and the kids like this or whatever? Just look all of the crowd.
Yeah.
Not realizing, man, that you can serve your way in a marriage to a place to where there's so much giving and receiving going back from both ends. You don't even know where you at in the process. Like you just lose track. Like you don't keep score anymore.
Yes.
It's just, I'm just trying to be the best husband possible. My wife, she's just trying to be the best wife possible.
Yeah.
And we just doing what we know to do in doing that.
Yes.
Working on ourselves, working on our marriage, making sure that we stay on the same page together, being above average in everything that we do individually and together, so that way we can keep thriving in our marriage, serving one another, loving one another, and growing through life together and doing what's necessary to take care of us and our marriage and our household.
And be great role models for our child.
Literally.
So even her little eyes, her little self, she holds us to a certain standard. Because she needs to see us be above average. So when she getting stuff and it say, well, the average, blah, blah, blah. Can't relate.
I'm trying to tell you, like, listen, you ain't going to be able to woo my baby girl just saying she's beautiful. She know that already.
Listen.
She already know that. She done already been to the steakhouses. She done already been around the country, more than a few times. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, no, boss, she gonna want to know what your character like. Mm-hmm. The stuff you can't quantify through your materials and all of this other crap. Mm-hmm. Like, we want to look at the above average things. We want to be able to see the stuff that you can't hide. Mm-hmm. And that's what mess people up too.
Speak on it.
They don't spend enough time actually getting to know a person through their actions and to really be able to see themselves. And here go what really messes them up, because they'll see one thing and deem it a red flag or whatever. Not realize, man, that we all got stuff.
Yeah, we're human.
We human.
Yeah.
We all got stuff. Mm-hmm. The thing is how fast can a person self-correct when you identify something? And how much do you mean to that person to where they will take responsibility for that and correct that in themselves to become better for themselves and for you? Because when you find a person that'll do that, you noticed the red flag,
right?
Brought it to their attention, right. And it was like, wow, this impacted you in that way. I care about you. I will do what's necessary to self-correct, and I will allow you to hold me accountable to that because I care about you. Mm-hmm. And I'll do what's necessary to become this better person because I know that'll make me better for me and for you and for the life that I see us being able to have together. Rather than what they do today, I saw this thing about him or her, red flag, I'ma just fall back. You don't even know now. You didn't even create a space and an opportunity right now for you to be able to grow through something with somebody because you're going to need them challenges.
Right.
Because they introduce the opportunities for the growth to actually happen.
Right. You preaching today.
That's some above average stuff. Mm-hmm. That's the real above average mentality right there. And that's not saying you come into a relationship trying to fix nobody. Mm-hmm. That ain't doing that. Mm-hmm. That's mean you're able to identify issues, and you're also able to create a space to where people can self-correct where they need to, and loving them enough to be able to support them through it when you can.
Right.
And if they're able to allow you to be able to do that. But you ain't there to force it on nobody.
Right.
We ain't trying to save nobody. Mm-hmm. I want you to care about me enough to where you can care about you enough to correct the areas that are important. Not just because it benefits me, but it benefits you.
Right.
That's what you did for me, boo. You did that for me multiple times. For us long before we was married. And it carried over into our marriage. I'm like, dang, I do need to fix that. I am like that. I don't like that. I can see me becoming a better man if I get rid of that habit or if I get rid of that way of thinking or that way of being. That's going to make me better for me. And because my wife helped bring it to my attention, that's going to make me so much better as a man and a husband for her. We both get the benefit from me taking care of this problem over here that she brought to my attention.
And I think what's so dope about that is you always know that I have such good intentions towards you. Like, I'm not trying to change you into somebody like for me. No, like, I want you to be the man that you want to be for you. And ultimately, I'm going to win anyway. Like, I'm going to get that version of you, but you need to be happy with you. And there's always little things that even me, I can fix about myself that can make me a better person for me and a better wife for you. But I love that we respect each other enough to know we respect each other. We respect each other enough to listen to each other and to take each other's words and process it and reflect on ourselves about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because we could easily be dismissive, like, oh, you saying this about me, you don't like me, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not like that. It's like, I love you enough to help you fix you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Help you do the work on you.
Help you do the work on you for you, and I'll benefit from it regardless.
Yeah. And then what's so dope about that is that in us doing that, it's one of those things to where you have to be okay contributing to a person to where they would benefit from that at such a degree to where it benefits them even beyond you.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like,
yes,
I'm going to do this work on me. Like, even apart from my wife, this still makes me better. But I want to have those type of contributions.
Yeah, that's it.
I want to have those type of contributions to who my wife is.
Yes.
Like, I want her to be able to grow and to become better and to feel good about who she is apart from me and especially with me.
Yes.
And that takes some real effort. That takes some above average effort.
Above average.
You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Period.
But like, that's that stuff, man, that people fail to see, because I know the human condition, man. It's just set up for us to be so selfish and really to only think about ourselves. And people have this twisted belief today that love in and of itself only comes with people being happy and being able to get their own needs met and all of this stuff, right? But when you love somebody in a productive way, because love is a double-edged sword, but when you love somebody in a productive way, a lot of discomfort comes with that.
Yeah.
A lot of setting aside happiness for fulfillment, for joy, for strength, endurance comes with that. And all of that requires discomfort, change, challenging things sometimes. It requires you to be able to have uncomfortable conversations. It'll pull you out of your comfort zone. But that's what a real love and growth is.
Yes.
Because people, if you really want to know how to go deep in a relationship, you have to overcome challenges.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be with somebody who can see you in all your different shades, be able to go through those moments, grow through those moments with that person, be willing to walk through it with them. And then when you get to the other side, it's like, wow, you love me through that. Yes. Because the truth of the matter is most people already feel for the most part that, dang, you wouldn't love me if you saw all of these sides of me. You wouldn't love me if you really saw how I see myself, or if you knew how I actually thought about XYZ and all of this crap.
Right.
And that's where people really get vulnerability messed up, because they feel like vulnerability is just you exposing all of this stuff and just being completely open and all of that stuff, which it is. But the bigger aspect of it is you being able to have all of that stuff released from you and still be able to maintain who you are and the confidence you have inside of yourself, and know that you're human and know that you're still a person growing through life just like anybody else.
Yes.
But when you have somebody who you can share that stuff with, you know that you got somebody who you can overcome just about anything with, because they can see you in a way that nobody else can.
Yes.
And that's the real hack. When you're able to genuinely be vulnerable with somebody and they can see all of you and still be willing to grow through life with you, man, you got a jewel. Because most people are afraid to be themselves anyway.
Right.
But that's what makes our marriage so above average. because my wife has had to see every side of me, the darkest, dirtiest, freaking all of the crap, all of the insecurities. Like, she's had to be there with me through all of that stuff. And I've had to be there with her. I had to be there with you through all of that crap. And we've loved each other through the process. And in doing so, it's created the depth.
Yes.
Because what that told me is that I don't want to do this again. I'm not going through this level of challenge and struggle and having to get to know somebody and exposing myself like that. Like, I'm not finna do all of that crap a second time. And I'm definitely not about to fumble the one person I had the nerve to do it with.
You'll never find another me.
I already know. Like, and you know, let me tell you the crazy thing about that. Because so much of who you are today is because of me and my contribution to you.
Yes.
I don't know if I would have the energy to help develop that in another person.
Yes.
So in all actuality, I could never find another you.
Yeah.
For real.
For real.
Because that means I would have to come back with that same level of effort and intentionality and all of that crap to pour into yet another person all over from the beginning. I don't have that energy. Like, I don't want to do all of that. Like, we got 13 years right now of effort.
Yeah.
Of intention and love and sacrifice and compromise and grit and determination and all of this stuff.
And all of that makes me smile.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like
it ain't pressure.
It's not no pressure. Like, even when you talk about like discomfort and challenges and overcoming things, I'm like, hell yeah, we did this shit. Like, I'm like, it like makes me like, poke my chest out with it. I'm like, yes, we've overcome so much together. Like, and it makes me look at you and be like, damn, like, you really about that life about me. And I'm really about that life about you.
Yeah.
You can't find that nowhere. Like, after all these years and all this work we've put in with each other, like, no, I'm here. We here.
Come on, man. But see, that's the thing though. It's like, show me any person that has an inspiring story that doesn't have some challenge in it. You've never been inspired by anything or anyone that didn't come with a challenging story behind it. So when we get to look up and look back at all we've endured and overcome and the development that we've been able to have over the past 13 years and to know for a fact that most people could not overcome the stuff that we've overcome and could not endure the stuff that we've endured and still be madly in love after the fact, you get a sense of pride. Like, you put your chest out when you say, this is my wife. I married this woman. We built our marriage from scratch. Yes. We did all the work. We showed up for each other. Like, you say that crap with your chest out because you know most people ain't even got half the type of effort and intentionality and what it takes to be able to have a marriage like what we got. Like, no. That's like when you build a company from zero to XYZ millions of dollars and you know that you done invested everything, the sleepless nights, you done been, on the verge of losing it all and all of this crap, and you still make it through to that point to where you can just sit back and look at what you've built. Like, that's what this is for us. We've endured and we've gotten to a point in our marriage to where we can look up and be like, bro, most people can't do this. And you get a sense of pride in it. Yes. And people, it's the same when you working out, when you in the gym and your body gets cut up and you done been put yourself through all of this stress and all of this. You get a sense of pride when you put in that effort and you know that the type of effort you put in, most people can't do. It's the challenge that makes the payoff worth it. It is the challenges, the stress, it's the determination and the grit. It's all of that stuff that makes it worth it. But then when you put in that type of effort, it makes you take that much more care of it because you know what it took to get it. So that means you're going to be that much more careful to make sure that you don't mess it up.
That part. That was a great addition. Absolutely.
And that's how marriages stay together.
Yeah.
That's how people reach such peaks and are able to sustain it because they know what it took to get there. And they don't take that lightly.